And we're live. So, hey everyone, welcome to the new episode of Tech Fusion. And today we have a special guest with us. Our special guest is from the Heurist team, JW and Manish. So, this is going to be a very big crossover episode because this is the first time we have four people in the same stream. We have Prashant, the CEO and co founder of Sveron. We have Manish, the CEO of Heurist. And we have JW, the CEO and founder of Heurist. So, glad to be here, guys. And this whole episode is all about AI, GPU, AI, and beyond. So we talk about things around AI, we talk about things around GPUs, we talk around things about what happens beyond. And apparently, like I would start with the first thing which is going on in my mind right now, which I recently saw, uh, that now AI models can even reason, right? So we just recently saw that Owen preview, and like we just saw a good fair share of the video how it can reason and how it can get started. So what do you guys think, how much time would it take for decentralized compute to play catch up with all of these models which are coming up, and how much time would it take for end users to really utilize all of the decentralized based models easily? Like how would that happen, and anybody can respectively go on this. So
I think I'll fix few things for JW. It's not, I think it's gonna be not compute. It's gonna be compute. Yes, one thing, but how exactly this kind of training will be possible in going forward down the line. JW or Manish.
So yeah, let me take this question. Thank you so much for having us. Pleasure to speaking with our partner team, and also time to share some more insights and our thoughts about the decentralized AI space overall. So you're basically asking about the things like yesterday, OpenAI announced their new O1 model with the capability of reasoning, and also a few days ago, there's some drama in the open source AI space that someone uh, released an open source model saying that this model is exceeding the capabilities of cloud and OpenAI, but it turned out to be like it's just like a fake model, it's fake news called reflection model. But still, you see that people are highly interested in developing newer version, cutting edge model, open source model that can beat the performance of closed source. However, we do see a trend that typically it's, the development of closed source model is um, it's better. It's always move faster because they are being built in bigger companies, much more more organized way, and have uh, access to a, a large number of funding and supporters. So still, I think the open source space generally lags behind the closed source space by 6 months, up to 12 months in some domain. For example, like in terms of like video generation, I think the open source model is more behind. But in terms of LLMs, uh, typically we will see that the open source community can catch up with the pace of the big companies' closed source models just with about 6 months of lagging. And this was already proven in the previous generation of models. Like early this year, we have Llama 3 model coming out, and there's the Llama 3 70B and Llama 3 405B um, already achieved on par performance with GPT-4. So that's a great leap forward for open source. And then both sides, open source, closed source, started to make more progress. So it will start to race, compete against each other, and but I hope that finally we'll see some the cutting edge open source model are almost equally capable of the cutting edge closed source ones. Um, I think you also asked about how um, the decentralized compute can be utilized in this open source model development, right?
Yeah,
Regarding
I did.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, regarding this, we've seen some great progress by some of the greatest innovator in this space. Namely, we saw researchers from uh, Nels Research. They recently implemented the first real-world experiment of training a large language model on distributed GPUs, and this their method is based on a Google paper called Decentralized. Like I think this paper name is Decolo or Deloco, yeah, kind of a weird name. Decolo paper.
It's Diloco, and I posted it about just few days back, like how Diloco is like improving the
Yeah, that
efficiency around the VRAM usage.
Yeah, that was originally like just a research piece published by Google, but later on, Lots Research did a real world experiment of that and figured out a lot of the technical details and the real world performance. And that's the first time um, a large language model is trained on completely distributed GPUs with very limited uh, with very limited compute no, network bandwidth between nodes. Um, and the paper was able to bring down the network transmission by I think by more than 1,000 times. So typically, like you need in a in a data center environment, you need a really large compute no, no, really large network bandwidth between nodes. But in their experiment, they reduced the network transmission between nodes by a lot, more than 1,000 times, and they deliver great results. That's an exciting update, I think, for all of us working in this space. That means people started to treat the decentralized compute seriously. It's not like something on the imagination or on theory on paper, but it's real. So it's a big catalyst. I think it means much more to you guys, Severo, than to Heurist, because Heurist is still we focus on AI inference, but you guys are more on the GPU compute side. So you should be more excited about that. And yeah, I'm also really excited about people starting to pay more attention to the distributed compute space in the decentralized AI stack. Yeah, that's uh, my personal take.
I think you have covered some fantastic points, JW, and I love the way and as we kind of move forward, we kind of see like where the world is kind of moving on. And there was a very interesting research paper which I was also reading about, and during my SBC day when we also met in one of the event, one of the researchers just pointed out a very cool fact, and the fact what is like we are just paying heavy premium for VRAM usage. So every time whenever you need even higher compute capacity, we are paying for the cost of not the GPU as a whole, but we are paying the RAM cost. Like for example, let's say H100 has 80 gigabyte, right? And then the lower one A6000 has around 48 GB, and then 24 GB and all of this stuff. So if you kind of look at very closely, that is what we are paying for. And if that model can be optimized on a lower one, lower VRAM usage, or offloading on, and that is where I kind of really want to understand. I don't know, like if you have looked or given it a shot on the recent release of the Mac, basically the iPhone 16 and their versions around it. What they came up with a very interesting idea, and I think that could also be very interesting for the decentralized computation world to kind of take a peek into and see is like how exactly everything has been built there. And the idea was quite interesting. It's like they are using very different model altogether for training, fine tuning, and all this stuff, and that too at a lower compute capacity possible. So that's definitely gonna be there, and we are truly excited about it. But since you have covered some more points around, yeah, I think you covered one more point around reflection. But have you given it a shot while there was a hype? I did, though. I did given given it a shot, and the problem was like it was just giving me those weird outputs.
Yeah, haven't given it a try, but I hear that a lot of people uh, just they claim this server's been DDoS and reject the request from many people. So it's hard to get a try, get a
They
hands-on
had a
experience.
whole Twitter fallout, like somebody from the decentralized compute space called them out for doing that, because they said that the whole GPU resource and time and operation and a lot of things goes on into running a model, and they called out this specific person for the whole doing. So it was pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, hyperbolic was like pretty angry. I saw them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think yeah, it was a hyperbolic team, and I was also like was shocked when I heard is like, is it really true? Like there was entire hype and there was a lot of these charts and all of those things were posted. People was giving them out like a lot of H100. Even I also thought like okay, I'll also like sponsor some H100s, but then what happened was like suddenly in a single day it's good. Like we did not, but then we realized okay, it was some kind of a news which we wanted to cover. But there are some few points again I want to summarize as well for JW here. 6 months, and today also I posted one more a very interesting topic around if by 2030 how exactly and how much compute capacity we are going to need in order to even like reach to a place where what we want to achieve. As like if I ask you some questions, GW, Manish, any one of you can pick it up, is mostly around where do you see like I can see like inferencing over a decentralized compute, even centralized compute or whatever way it is been kind of built upon. How does that incorporates to the cost in a long run duration? So, for example, let's say if we have to compare the cost of training versus the cost of inferencing, what is the biggest differences which you guys have found so far? Because you guys have been to inferencing, I would love to kind of understand how you are solving that uh, cost problem around the inferencing as well.
Hmm. So, so in the full life cycle of an AI model, some compute resources are spent on training, and then later on, after a model is trained, then the compute resources will be spent on inferencing. So based on some data, different companies chose different uh, experimental data, and they think in the total life cycle of a model, about 80% to 90% of the compute resources will be spent on inferencing, and the training takes another like 10%. So uh, that's our main thesis of building Heurist, is that we believe inferencing is a much bigger market than training, and therefore we focus on AI inferencing. And another reason is inferencing can requires much lower compute resources as compared to training. In training, typically needs like hundreds of thousands of GPUs interconnected and highly available. But for inferencing, the requirements isn't that strict. Typically, you just need one node in the network with one or a few GPUs, and they don't need to communicate with each other through the internet. We just need one physical node, for example, one cluster of 8 H100 or 8 800 can efficiently run the biggest open source model out there. Mm, that's our main thesis. And what I see this space as a growing market, it will grow as the whole market of the generative AI grows. People expect a exponential growth over the next few years until 2020. I mean, every industry will be heavily impacted by the use of generative AI, and people will uh, completely reorganize the workforce, change the way how people work, um, and use AI to speed up every aspect of people's jobs. For example, I'm in New York City, and now there are so many subway ads published by Cloud AI, and those ads, they don't really focus on technical people. They are not on like software programming people, but the ads uh, they depict a future where like architects, designers, lawyers, and journalists can utilize their AI products to help them do a better job. So I mean, a trend here is that every industry, every domain will be completely shaped by the use of different AI products, and I mean it's a huge demand for compute, and at the same time it's a also huge demand for people building AI space. Like the space needs people like us building the infrastructure, and also the space needs more people building AI products to efficiently use those compute resources.
Yeah, but we need more people like you.
So we definitely need
So,
everyone.
yeah. So the reason being because like honestly speaking, so once the supply, I think few months back the supply was the bottleneck, right? But now the supply is no longer a bottleneck for a lot of things. Yeah, it totally depends is like what kind of training which you want to achieve and all of those stuff. We until unless we don't require a farm of 10,000 GPUs or 20,000 GPUs at one place, it's a very different ball game altogether. But at this point of time we have enough compute supply which is kind of coming in. So I think we need more people like you who are building an amazing stuff on top of the inferencing layer and make the world a much more better place to improve everyone's life, like every day, like whenever they go to work or do whatever they in day-to-day activities. I'll pause here because I've been asking. I'm not a host here anyway. I'm Prakash is a host here. So I just thought it's like, okay, so I'll ask you this question. Last time when I met in NYC, and I forgot to ask you this question, so I thought like I'll basically take an opportunity and ask this one. But I'll hand over the mic to Prakash, and Prakash, you can ask now.
I think let's ask you a question now. You have been asking too many questions. So, Prashant, what do you think is next in the roadmap for Spheron? Like post decentralized compute, what is the next things which are coming up for Spheron, and something people should be looking ahead to in terms of there are a lot of things which is happening uh, on with Spheron. I would love to see you highlight things which the viewer should be discreetly be highlighted for. So, what do you feel are those things?
Yeah, sure. So there are multiple things, but since I think I would love to give all the credits to JW and like the team here, like who have been taking out the time. But just for them is like, so as they or the inferencing teams or the AI agent layers teams or anyone, like they once they start building everything ground up, like most of the once user get start onboarding, the biggest challenge, even though we don't speak about it today, not everyone will be ready to pay a very heavy cost for a lot of these inferencing endpoints, right? And that is what these guys are also trying to solve. Now, all of these costs basically occurs from the foundation of it. The foundation is the compute, right? It's like a real estate business. So if any economy has to grow or like move further, their real estate cost has to little bit like rental cost of the real estate should be in an affordable zone so that you have enough money left which you can spend elsewhere to buy products and kind of increase other productivity around the economy as well, right? The same thesis we already had at Spheron, and we wanted to kind of provide something similar to the companies like who have been building the inferencing layer. And the thing which we have worked upon was it's called Fizznode, and which is going to be very interesting. I'd love to invite JW and Manish also to kind of give it a shot once you guys are free. It's very simple. So what we have done is we we do believe that computers which are sitting in the house and may not be good for training, but computers sitting in the house, if they are put very closer to the user, they will be good for inferencing. I think JW, you can make me wrong, or Manish, you can also like come and comment on this part. But what we have tested in our experience is this one. It's like when we were able to combine these smaller machines and computers together, they were very good for inferencing. Like the cost was like 1/10 and all of those stuff, and then but we were able to serve the request even when I was sitting at my house and doing multiple things. So that is what we are bringing at Spheron. The next thing called Fiznodes. Fiznodes allows anyone to become the part of a Spheron as a computer, like become as a compute supplier. Now the interesting part about Fiznode, it can be leased alone. It can also be leased as a cluster. It can connected as a cluster. You can play around with massively around it. So that is what basically Fiznode, which is coming up. I'm super duper excited about that as well, and to see is like how we can run open source models on top of these machines. And this is where I also wanted to understand JW from you as well, because this is our Manish, even you can also pick it up. Is if we have to bring this smaller device to reality, right, to basically make them use, the again the same question comes to the picture is, apart from the bandwidth now, since we live in 5G era, until unless you are not outside of the country, then only then we face that latency, right? But if we are in the same region, the issue drills down to the VRAM usage. So how do you guys are like working? Are you guys like spending your time to bring these models on, or the inferencing model? Because I was going to do your thing, and you guys have one more thing which is very interesting. Is anyone can become the node provider also in heuristic, right? If I'm not wrong. Like if somebody wants to kind of go and provide the capacity, GPU capacity to heuristic to aggregate it on the API endpoint, they should be able to do it. Are you guys also working on that lower that gap so that anyone who has a machine can also contribute to heuristic as a network?
So we are conservative of adding support for lower end machines because we believe that people still need at least the latest newer generation of NVIDIA GPUs, ideally 24 gigabytes of VRAM to run the majority of language model. If you see like the most popular 7B, 8B models, you still require at least 16 gigabytes to run, and also adding some buffer for the context, then it likely need 24 gigabytes. It's hard to go down. I mean, we can bring it down because there are plenty of technologies that can either offload the VRAM to the system CPU memory, or there are distributing frameworks that can uh, connect multiple nodes in the network and use the and separate the layers of a large language model into multiple computers and still perform inference. But that will add up a lot to the technical complexities. And when the complexity goes up, then it's very demanding in terms of engineering support and in terms of customer support. Like people will run into miscellaneous issues, and then we need to help them fix. So we are conservative about bringing those fancier technology in our system. Um, but also want to hear more from your perspective, because you're saying that face node is someone that anyone can run. So can you tell me more about that? What's the requirement from that? Is that something that a machine that you sell, or is from people's own PCs?
Yeah, so basically from our side, as you said, is like there should be certain kind of restrictions which has to be put, and the restrictions are going to be, let's say, 24 gigabyte of VRAMs, at least for to run in some kind of model, right? So that basically means like if somebody has RTX 4090s, right, in which is currently sitting on their machines on a gaming laptops, then it is also possible to bring them in. So what FaceNode basically does essentially is like, if you know there's a text, there are a lot of these technologies which are getting built now, called like in a clustering mechanism, where, or let's say ray in that case. So let me just take the till one of the technologies like called ray. So ray basically allows you to connect the smaller devices, the bigger one, as a worker nodes, and then it basically offloads that additional compute, like the data, to the smaller worker node to perform dedicated inferencing on top of it, which was quite interesting. And that is what we thought, like, okay, so if it is possible, then okay, so let's go ahead and do something around it. And that is when we started getting deeper and deeper into that particular problem statement. And then we realized there are a lot of these models. So let's say it's not always gonna be like people are gonna be running Olama 70B model, or there is not always people are gonna be like using Olama 405 model, because these are like generalized language models, right? And these generalized language models are like, they have all the context. They know the president, they know the kingdom, like they know all of those stuff, right? Which we may not need it. So for example, let's say there is a company, like what you have just mentioned around the advertisement space, right? There is a company in New York who wants to improve the life of the lawyers by bringing them, or telling them what exactly is happening today in the court, or like anything like that. Whatever the file has been submitted by their clients, like they want to just read it through. Does it really require the entire contextual models? No, right? It doesn't. It just requires a models which is very fine tuned and trained around these kind of specific generalized data points. And that is where we felt is like, if and these smaller models doesn't require bigger machines, so they can easily be deployed on the smaller machines and offloaded there. So that's the whole intent of the Fizz node, to bring that kind of capacity to the network so that people can go and individually lease out these machines and do it. That's one thing. Second thing is like, if you look at the MacBooks for example, right? So MacBooks has very good efficiency in multiple things, like running the models and everything locally, which Windows machines generally fails. You can go ahead and lease out that as well via Facebook. So it is very flexible. It's a small container which can be just easily installed in your machine. Don't require a lot of fancy setups and everything. It doesn't consume a lot of memory of yours. It just sits there. Whenever some request comes into the picture, it just spins up a new workload altogether and then give it to you as a long running job. So that is what it does. And then with that, you can combine it to perform multiple things. So for example, let's say there's an AI agent which requires 10 CPU, 10 GB RAM, and all of those things to perform some task. So that agent can go and spin up a Fizz node instead of spinning up the entire compute capacity from the data center. So a lot of these kind of use cases, which can be built quite seamlessly on top of this Fizz node concept. And then yes, there is, as I said, our architecture is two-layer architecture. One, on top there is a data center, and then below that there is a Fizz node. So that basically means, like what you are saying, I also agree on that point, is like not everything can be offloaded to the machines. So there is a data center where all of the main things will get offloaded, but the smaller task can easily offload it to the Fizz node. So that is how the Fizz node is designed for the end users. I hope this makes sense. But I'll also
Wait,
share you I'll also share you the entire docs around it. Just go through it. It's fantastic. You'll love it.
thanks for clarification. Yeah, Manish and I should set up some notes and possibly promote the notes in our community, because we have so many miners, and some miners are very eager to install new nodes on their machines, and some of them even like run multiple nodes at one time.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm all in.
Amazing.
First,
We got our first, not our first, one of the foundation ecosystem partners to run nodes upon, and the community as well. We're going to drop the link once it's live for everyone in the chat of this so that you can access. And we're going to give it to the Heurist community as well. Now, if we are speaking of community, and this question comes for the Heurist team itself, as we saw that your team has created different bots and different ecosystem products like Heurist Imagine, Heurist Search, Pondera, and Babel. Like all of these different products, in comparison to more of Web 2 products, what kind of traction do you really see from your community getting upon to it? And does it really leads to Heurist being used on a widespread? Like how does that take place? And what kind of technology is behind it? Like how did you guys think of it and make it like something you thought of that this is used very widely, so we should do that? Or what was the whole reasoning and idea behind it?
the reason why we build this application in our ecosystem is mainly because people tend to think AI is a faraway thing. We started building Heurist January this year, and we um, launched the three applications, the web-based applications, in March, in very early days of Heurist. The reason, on the one hand, is that we want people to experience AI, to try out AI products, to get access to AI very easily. Um, and then another perspective is that I think we as a protocol team, we should also dogfood our own technology. So all these apps are connected to our core protocol, the API provided by decentralized GPUs. We did that from the day one of these applications, and then that help us to uh, look out for potential issues and and get a sense of what our core API service will work in real world. And after a couple of months, we've seen much more demand for some of the apps, especially for the Imagine image generator. There is something unique about Imagine is that we deployed a variety of fine-tuned image generation models, not limited to like the SDSL based model, but there are so many artists, creators, AI model trainers train their own model, and then we deploy them on our platform. And this model provides a variety of visual styles. Some are good at 2D cartoons. Some are good at like Japanese style anime. Some are good at 3D realistic photography, um, and that's showcase the diversity of open source AI. Because once you get a base model, you get model weights, you can fine tune, you can train a model on top of that to make it your style, to showcase your community. Like we have a model dedicated to the ZK Syncs mascot cat, Zeke cat, and we have another model which is replicating a character in the Forgotten Runes NFT community. So all these um, Web3 native models attracted the most attention because that's very unique. It combines the spirits of Web3 and decentralized AI, and we actually have a working product that people can try it out without any cost. They don't even need to connect their wallet or sign up an account to use the model. So that makes really user friendly. And speaking of some of our other applications, including the Discord translation bot, um, we build that to engage our community to use AI in their daily life. An international community can easily send message to each other from the international channels and get automatically translated to English so that everyone else can see the message in English, and also in vice versa, the international English speakers can also send messages to international channels, and the translation is all facilitated by AI. We did that because want to maximize the power of AI in whatever aspect, uh, our ecosystem, our community, and also in our internal development. We also use AI a lot when we develop software, and in terms of like some social media content generation. Also, it's a collaboration with human and AI. We want to bring AI to every aspect of the ecosystem, and to onboard people, to bring people from an AI newbie to an AI expert. And we are seeing a lot of great talents in the community. So it's all around community building, and also around iterating on products to make it better.
Amazing.
I think the one which you have just told, I think that is one of the interesting. But I would also love to kind of see if it is available to integrate in Spheron as well. And that is called the translation one, which you have just told. Uh, because we literally have to create multiple channels for community members from different countries, like, and it becomes really hard for us to kind of like translate it. So happy to kind of like check out after this call. I'm going to do it is to see is like how it works, and we'll be more than happy to kind of get it integrated. But yes, Prakash, you can.
Yeah, like I was gonna ask, like, have you guys been using Cursor more, or are you still on VS Code?
Many of the developers are using Cursor, and they're saying that it's like you have multiple interns working for them, and they just give out instructions.
Yeah.
Because I recently, like, I was speaking to few of my developer friends, and they have forgot VS Code now, and everybody has been using Cursor, and so that and do you think there would be open source workaround with Cursor as well, like somewhat like Cursor? We know a team which is working on something which is similar to Cursor, but do you really think that can open source projects can reach to such scale in such short time?
Um, I think Manish try out using a different API key for the Cursor. As long as it's OpenAI compatible API key, then it can plug into Cursor IDE and work.
Manish
But I
has
think
been fairly very active in this call. Like, I have to,
Before the
and
call,
I know the reason why.
before the live stream started.
I know the reason why. Manish used to be an NVIDIA employee, so I think he has all the stocks option and rolled out, and now the
Uh,
market is going down, and he's so sad.
That is Nvidia chips not working, and he's not able to stream his camera.
yeah. So the cursor API we actually like integrated with our Heurist LLM API, and it works fine. We are looking to like up the model on the back end a little bit more, such that like the cursor. So the cursor has like a few new what like paradigm shifts in like terms of like prompt engineering and like data calling and function calling, which like we need to like up our game on the back end. So we're waiting for that to like fully announce a cursor integration, so that we'll be a very cheap alternative to using OpenAI calls on cursor, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Did
like,
they did they
over.
did they open it, Manish, yet for adding the third party APIs?
Uh, like on their app, you can just easily like integrate our API. Like it's like pretty simple. It's
Oh,
like 4 clicks, I think.
nice. I would love to kind of take a look, like how does it work? Because I was also
Yeah,
trying it out, and
yeah.
I
The
did not
only
quite.
reason why, yeah, the only reason like it sort of works is like because we have an OpenAI like compatible endpoint, and that's the only reason why it like works out of the box without any like tinkering on our side. So
Nice, nice. That's good.
And
Then
I
we
think
can
it's time
definitely.
for everybody to ride the wave of Cursor plus Claude. So I think then Manish and JW can go on a live stream and showcase it, that you guys finally
How
did
how
it.
how an intern is gonna write a code.
yeah.
It's
But honestly speaking, like just to joke apart, I'll tell you one thing. It's been like around 4 years, 4 to 5 years now for me. Like I have touched a code. But in the past 3 to 4 days, I wrote couple of things from my. It is really an intern code itself, but at least I went ahead and I used the AI and then created a code, and the code were kind of very simple. I just wanted to. So yesterday, I made a small tool, which was like it used to read the entire website, whatever website URL pass it into, and then because I don't have a lot of time, like we always end up in like having a lot of meetings. So generally, what happens like we lose time. What is happening? What new research is coming up, right? So I just made a tool like you just put that URL. It reads the entire URL content and everything. Creates a brief for you, and that brief does a multiple iteration around it. So that basically means like you can send that brief to multiple API endpoints and ask that to kind of like create multiple briefs so that you have that conclusion of the entire the material. Even today, I posted one more thing that was done from using the same tool. So, so I used I created the tool, passed that URL, got all the things. Then I went to one more place and then just made some grammarly changes here and there just to make sure like it just looks better and in my word, and then it's all done. So I think AI is going to change a lot of things, even though people like us who have left the coding for so long and now we are able to code. So that's a good part.
so the whole narrative went from can devs do something to can devs really do something. So yeah, yeah. So the whole narrative kind of got shifted.
Yeah,
And it's amazing to see.
Manish need to tell that like is like, are you coding now? So it's
Yeah,
like,
he'd like not a fair bit, but I would like to code more. Yeah, he'd like yeah.
yeah, then you
Manish
should be
went into
cursor
this
intent.
loop that am I coding more, or
Yeah.
is it cursor which is doing the whole job?
All right. So I think I would love to also hear a few more things from you guys, JW and Manish, from both of you. Is as we move into this direction, what are your next 2 months plan? I know some of the plans, but I'd love to hear those. And also, if there is something which you want to share with the communities, like, hey, you know what? If you are not using heuristic, now it's your time to kind of get into the community and start using it.
2 months plan. Yeah, it's getting very close. It's just November. Yeah, we're going to sponsor a hackathon during DevCon. DevCon happens in the early mid November in Thailand this year. yeah, going to work with a major AI partner to sponsor hackathon and to promote the use of Heurist API service. And another thing is, just like Manish mentioned, we are still not 100% compatible with the OpenAI API endpoint, and we are pushing for that. Once we support function call and support a few other smaller features in our LLM gateway, then that means people can easily build more applications using advanced features provided by OpenAI API that is can be routed towards our DP network. Um, and we are, because we are doing the preparation on the TG, refining our tokenomics to make sure it's a mind-blowing one, to make sure it's highly innovative and well designed. Because I have a background in DeFi, and I fully realize that what a good tokenomics can help with the project, and also I also understand what a bad tokenomics can harm the project in the longer run. Like I used to be in a different project where the token emission was so high and it was all hard coded, so the developers couldn't change that. In the end, it became a dumb fast. Well, this thing will never happen in Heurist, and um, we are designing a very new tokenomics and to be a new white paper to be published quite sometime soon.
Amazing, man. I'd love to kind of see that once it comes out, because that's gonna be very interesting one. I think on the inferencing layer, you guys are gonna be the first one who will be releasing the economics, or somebody has already done it around it. I think you
Uh,
guys will be the first one.
you're saying inferencing for what?
Yeah, for the inferencing layer. So on the inferencing layer side, the token economics part, like, is there anyone who has already, like, you are excited or you're looking into anyone of, or there is anyone who has done a very fantastic job there so far in Web3?
So yeah, I think there are a couple of teams building inferencing networks, like Cusco, like Netmind. They are all building inferencing features, but none of them have shipped sound tokenomics around the use of GPUs and around the incentivizing different parties in the system. So I think we are definitely the first mover in this space, combining the innovation of DeFi in deepin.
Amazing. So Prakash,
I think we are coming to the last set of the question. Second, this is the second last. So this is going to be for both the teams, Sferon and Heurist. And what is the roadmap that looks ahead for next few? I think your Heurist has given us a good idea. And what is the roadmap for Sferon looks like in next few months, and what are the most prominent things which are going to come up in few months? I would love to hear that from you, Prashant.
yeah. So we are very compute centric folks. So the first thing which we are looking at is to bring more and more supply side, not more, like a lot, but enough so that we can allow teams to kind of scale. That's one thing. Second thing is Fizz again, it's gonna go live. So that's the second thing. Third thing which we are currently working on is the experience layer itself. So imagine you want to lease out a GPU, and it has to be just the feeling of leasing out a GPU from Spheron should be like you are just leasing out from Web2 company, like, honestly, and it has to be so much smoother and sexier in those terms, and people should be able to do that. That's the third thing. The fourth thing which we are currently working on, again, it's the economics design of this Spheron, and I think that is where there is a good chance of, like to see, like, how we both of our communities can join hand together and march forward. The economics part where we are working on to refine it and to ensure is like it would just works. And again, there are a lot of concerns around the same is to, like, how we can make it much more robust and all of those stuff. We have some of the best economists like who we are currently working with. Let's see how does that goes, and that is the other thing. And the most interesting part around the growth is going to be again the DevCon. I think let's do something together also during DevCon GW if you guys are doing there. And then we are also going very heavy into there is a event which is also happening in India called IBW, and we are going to be setting our stage there as well in December. We are going to be hosting AI Summit there, most likely. That is what that Prakash, you can confirm, but that is what we are kind of working on. And then tons of other things. So mostly around the demand side, our focus is going to be is like how we can bring more and more demand on the compute um, by doing a vertical integration with the teams.
Amazing. It's nice to hear what is coming up for Sferon, and super excited as a team as well, and something which is for the end users and people who are providers as well. So it covers the whole segment of compute per se. And JW, Manish, you want to add some few comments before our last questions about the roadmap of Heurist?
Oh yeah, we're building a new backend system that can coordinate a large number of GPUs to run whatever type of GPU-heavy job, be it AI inferencing or fine-tuning or decay proving. We can all support that in a unified framework in a protocol level. So that means at that time, we can fully utilize the idle GPU power in our network because they are not limited to running LLMs or stable diffusion. But so say for example, someone want to prove some something with ZK and also compute heavy, very demanding for GPUs. We can also support that and can bring up our utilization ratio of the GPU network and also help our partners to onboard their idle GPU compute resources to earn some rewards.
Amazing, amazing. And I think like the unification part where you're saying that if a backend can work in such way, it could be a really massive thing for the whole decentralized segment as well. And the last question of this session, and is so the name of the episode is AI, GPU, and beyond, right? So beyond stands for anything which you see is going to happen in next 2 to 3 years, and how do you see the vision is going to be like? Are people going to do like there is so much of inferencing that going to happen? It can be anything arbitrary that is in your mind, and you can tell us about it. And I think we can go respectively. JW, Manish, Prashant, what do you guys think? What beyond would look like in next? I generally used to ask for next 5 to 10 years, but we are so fast in the whole updates that I think I lost audio. But
Yeah, that becomes irrelevant for this session to ask for 5 to 10 years. So let me complete that one. So would love to hear from JW and Manish, from both of you, like both of your personal perspective, and then I'll add mine.
Yes, I think from my perspective is that AI will become part of your daily life that you're not even aware of. I mean, things already happened in the past 10 years, but the AI that shape our um, technical world is mainly around, the like um, ad tech recommendation system and like some computer vision system that working in all the like dash cam monitoring camera, but it's still like a limited domain of our daily life. But in the near future, um, we will see a lot of things powered by AI and the features improved by AI without even being aware of that. Like you just browser the internet, you just do daily work, but a lot of things under the hood are already powered by AI, and you don't even feel that. You don't even need to talk with a chatbot to say what's up today, but everything will be uh, the AI will be under the hood of many things.
Amazing. I think that's a good point. Manish?
Yeah, like from my perspective, I like sort of see where AI is like integrated into the backend, where we do not really know if it's AI like controlling and giving us the outputs. So I sort of like see a like vision of our like human lives where AI is like blended seamlessly. Amazon right now has like about 40% network usage, and it's like a general consensus of like distributed computing like companies to like double their capacity like over like what they need to actually like serve. So like we're in that phase route like right now. So like we're like an indirect like Amazon in like terms of like the AI like inference space. And yeah, like the bigger models will like teach the smaller models, and the smaller models will like integrate so much that we take things for granted, right? And like that's the space we all like need to head at, so where like AI like inference is always needed, and it's like always like needs to be up. Yeah.
More power to you. The more AI inferencing is used, more compute is gonna get
Yeah.
used as well, and our business will also go up along with you guys. So coming to that, like my whole point is, if we, like, specifically pointing to the Web3, if you want to see Web3 grow and innovate around this deep in, deep in, and all of these narratives which are getting built up, we need to start capturing certain or portion of the percentage of centralized cloud computing and bringing back to the Web3 one. And what I hope, at least down the line, we should be at least, for God's sake, like I'm very excited. I'm still not we are at Spheron, we are just focused on that, is how we can bring at least some percentage of that back to the Web3 in any ways possible. That is what we are kind of working on. And not we, like most of our the companies like who are currently in the market, like they should have at least be generating close to half a million, $1 billion revenue on the computing layer down the line, and that is what we all should aim for the next. Um, I think 1 year will be like quite early to kind of say this word, to kind of get to that numbers because of certain tech uh, restrictions. But that is what I'm looking for a couple of years down the line. But in the next 5 to 10 years, I want to see AWS losing their market share, and that market share is should come to the Web3 or even GCP and all of these guys, the Web3 community-led infrastructures, and everyone in the Web3 should be empowered with that economic incentive, which will kind of come into this space. That is what I'm truly excited about down the line. But let's see how far that does it good. But if we have builders like Manish, JW, and all of us, the amazing teams around the world who are building towards deep in, Divin, and all of this space, I'm very bullish on like this will happen down the line.
Amazing. I got my audio back, and hopefully, I was able to listen to the whole thing. And amazing to see you guys for what the vision you have, and we must see that it gets fulfilled, and also to filling on upon the most beautiful design in the world, or anything is invisible. Like, we don't know who designed buildings or stop signs, but they are still there, very useful for us. And hoping for such way that AI comes and Web3 comes in such way to us and goes beyond. Thank you so much, Prashant, JW, and Manish, for joining us. And this has been an amazing. And I knew this was going to be amazing. I was telling Prashant that Heurist team is pretty fun. Like, we met Manish in India, and he was a fun person. And we get the vibes with JW as well, that he's a fun person
Oh,
as well.
I met JW in SBCL. It was also fun. So it's always great to see great like teams like who have. I think in Web3 the biggest problem is like not everyone is quite happy from inside. But when you see the folks like JW and Manish and everyone, you see like, okay, so there are teams who are really happy in building like what they're building, and kudos to you all of you guys as well. I'm whenever I even when we met Manish, we first of all we thought like, okay, so Manish is based in India, and then we did not knew that like he's there, and too he came to our event. We met him personally, and he was quite good. I hope Manish also loved us in any ways possible. Like
I
we
loved
did
you
not
guys.
embarrass
Yeah.
we did not embarrass you in during that event, but but it
No,
was fun.
it was really great to meet you guys. Yeah, it's like a really good event at like it like Bangalore. There was a really good event. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's meet
Amazing.
up again, guys. Nice meeting you. Thank you so much for being here. And to anybody who's watching us, keep an eye on Heurist and Sferon. We'll be back with one more episode.
Thank you so much.